At Your End Step is brought to you by Comic Town and BCW Supplies. Hello, and welcome to At Your End Step. My name is Morgan. I'm here with Mike.
Hello.
And Dave.
Hi.
We have another fun-filled episode for you folks this week.
Robo Dave's here again.
Hey,
Hello.
We're all probably a little bit tired. I mean, coming back, we're recording Monday, so it's the day after GP Indy, and Mike and I attended, so we're a little bit wiped out. And then
Plus Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. Yeah, and I know Dave had a rather trying night with some children. So
And I'm also sick.
And Dave's also sick. So prepared for
not great, but I'm here. But I'm here for you guys.
Of his children, that's funny. So prepare for another very riveting, high octane episode of At Your End Step.
Much like Conor McGregor, Dave doesn't plan on being actually entertaining when he's here.
Much like Conor McGregor, he plans to be knocked out while standing up.
I would welcome that right now.
Yeah, I know.
Can we make that happen?
Just fall right asleep standing up.
If you fall asleep standing up and your head starts moving and stuff, I'm going to assume I have to use a fatality.
I don't get the friendship.
No.
Friendship.
How are you going to babality if you don't get more sleep?
You do babality. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
I got babality last night.
Oh, man. All right. So we do have some community stuff to talk about. We had the B&R list, which we didn't mention last week was happening, but it's because we probably didn't really expect anything to happen.
I did not know.
But things did happen, so we'll talk about them. And then we have Ixalan. Those spoilers started today, and we had a pretty interesting article about some of the things that a lot of the community already knows has happened with Ixalan. So we want to talk about that, and then talk about a few of the cards and the mechanics, pretty much. But that's about it. And then we have a couple of GPs to talk about, and then a question of the week. So let's jump right in. So first, we want to talk about the banner restricted announcement, and all the announcements were all vintage related. So we had a couple of restrictions and one unrestriction. So the two restrictions were Thorn of Amethyst and Monastery Mentor being restricted, and then Yawgmoth's Bargain was the unrestricted card. And that one's kind of easy to knock out. You had Grizzlebrand, and you've had him for a long time. You can probably unrestrict Yawgmoth's Bargain.
It's easier to cheat a Grizzlebrand than it is a 6-mana enchant.
Exactly. So, who cares? So that's.
I mean, Yawgmoth probably does.
Yeah, his bargain's back on the table, so I'm sure he's pretty excited.
You can play 4 now.
You can play all 4 of them, and I don't really know Vintage very well, but I don't expect this one to make waves as far as the change goes.
Well, the actual restrictions are.
He was talking about purely the unbanned.
Yeah. If we're just talking about straight up.
No, the restrictions are important.
No, but this change I don't expect to see making waves. The restrictions I expect will make very positive changes to the format with Monastery Mentor and Thorn of Amethyst. Now, Thorn of Amethyst is for the shop stacks. People have been calling for a while to have something change in those decks to kind of fix them to some degree. I've heard that they are powerful. I've not experienced their power, so
they already restricted.
What was it?
The Golem.
Yeah, the Lodestone Golem.
Golem. Yeah. So it's kind of another. Apparently, it was still too good.
Yeah. Well. I mean, it gets to play Mishra's Workshop, that. That's literally that's why it's a shop stack. So it was still any artifact is essentially too good when it just is free.
Yeah.
So.
But they'll never restrict Workshop because it's too much money?
I honestly don't know. I
really don't know anything about Vintage. I just know Monastery Mentor is really sweet in Vintage.
Apparently too good. So
apparently. I wish it was better in Modern because I love that card, but it's just
the second they we have one playable Mox in the format. As soon as they print a couple more Mox, and then
you probably do some other busted stuff.
I don't think that's going to happen somehow.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah, people are already wanting Mox Opal to be banned to some degree.
All right, well, as long as we get cheap cantrips and Brainstorm and Ponder, then
no, I don't think.
No. Well, as long as they don't ban like free spells like Gitaxian Probe, then it'll be.
About that.
Oh.
I don't know if Modern's really the format for Monster
guess not.
Mentor. sorry, Jordan. Yeah, but I think like maybe it was sort of a thing where, if you're banning one, then maybe you have to ban the other, because like I feel like the Monastery Mentor decks and the Shops decks are sort of like two very powerful pillars of the format, and maybe banning the Thorn would have made the Mentor decks too good, or maybe like the Mentor decks were just too good on their own
these
anyway.
actually don't. I mean, again, I'm just making this without. You can scream at me about Vintage if you'd like, but these don't sound like they don't feel that comparative to me. Like restricting like Mentor, like really that deck's really got to change. Like was a major win condition. Whereas Sword of Amethyst is just like something it does to impede, a very good thing it does to impede the opponent, but does not feel like these are actually equivalent. One of these things pretty much like neuters an archetype, right?
I suppose. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have been saying that you can play Pyromancer still, so like that's another avenue you can pursue. It is different.
You still get to play one. You still get to play Jaces. Like it's still fine. But
like a deck like that will still continue to exist. Like you just.
Well, yeah,
it just changes.
People aren't swapping decks very often.
In Vintage, and like for the most part, like if you're playing a Mentor based deck, you're likely playing a blue based deck, and you already have the skeleton for that. So, like I don't know how much like it changes things, but those decks, so sort of decks still existed before Monastery Mentor was printed. So maybe they just go back to adding more things like that to. Make them look a little bit more how they used to look previously. It is changing things, but
oh man, look at the time. We are out of time to talk about Vintage.
Last thing I want to talk about is like they are implementing Vintage leagues on Magic Online, and this might be a reason why we see these changes being implemented. There is an influence to possibly like fix the format before you can easily jump in and play it consistently.
As long as Black Lotus remains 3-digit ticks, which it is, they're not going to see that many of these leagues firing. But what do I know?
Are you sure? Black Lotus.
But you only need one.
They had Vintage Masters. A lot of the things are less expensive than you think. You could buy a Vintage deck for like $800. Maybe a majority of that is Black Lotus. So, but you look that up. We will move on to Ixalan. So we obviously we did get a lot of cards today. Actually, over 50, if I'm not mistaken, from the set, and that has to do with a with what happened, basically. They kind of put out an article that said, that the foil uncut sheet that got stolen, they are, actively looking into that. There's an active investigation on it. They can't really talk a whole lot about it, pretty much, so.
$82.
Okay. And then, so any card that was pretty much fully visible on that sheet, they released. So you can go see those cards. And they had a great article about it. I'm not going to, tell you about what the article says. I implore you to go read it because it's worth your time to read. And it's a really good, lean into a decision, as they state in the article, to do that. I mean, they can't undo it. So why try to pussyfoot around it, basically?
It was nice to have them be transparent with that. For once, I felt like
transparency from Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, I'm surprised.
It kind of they kind of went through step by step. Here's what happened. Here are the actions we took. And it sounded like they very quickly were able to find the source of where it came from.
It sounded like they were already investigating before those pictures even got released. If I was reading the article correctly,
and then due to the nature of the internet,
it's
already out there. You can't unring the bell.
Yeah, right. But any of the cards that you could make out on there, you now have access to. So that really takes a lot of the power away from that sheet. And now we can kind of go forward, and we have hazy images of a lot of the rares on that sheet, but nothing you can actually make anything substantial with anyway. So it's still going to be a big surprise when you see those cards. And I think that's a good thing. They also mentioned that they are going to go deeper into the roster, as it were, of cards they talk about. They're going to go in both ways. They're going to talk about more commons and uncommons, and they're going to go deeper into the actual design of cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're doing that, because in the past, you know, when cards have gotten leaked, they've kind of just like pretended like nothing happened, and you know, you kind of like, it's almost a disappointment when you're like, oh, we already knew about this card, and you know, maybe you're not going to read the article then because it's not interesting to you anymore. and that's, you know, another reason why those kinds of things are bad. But it's nice that they have acknowledged it and they're basically embracing it at this point. You know, I think that's the right way to go about it, and just say, you know what, hey, this happened. Let's move on, and you know, for this set anyway, we'll do things a little bit differently.
Yeah. So, so the other big thing to talk about is we got all the mechanics. So we sort of got an official explanation of everything, and some of them are pretty interesting. So the first one on the article is Enrage, and basically Enrage is if a creature is dealt damage to it, then something happens. So the example we have here is the Sun-Crowned Hunters. It's 4 generic red for a 5/4 dinosaur. And it has Enrage. When
Dinosaur.
Now I want to go watch Jurassic Park. Thanks.
Whenever you deal damage to it, boom, Dino DNA.
Dino DNA. Oh man! But whenever it is dealt damage, it deals 3 damage to target opponent. So it bites back basically. But there's other ones that we've seen, like when X is dealt damage, draw a card or something like that. So
Yeah.
And apparently this is only on dinosaurs.
yeah, I mean,
They get enraged, man.
they get enraged and things happen. Nature finds a way. I'm pretty sure is where that goes.
It gets angry.
Yeah.
And then it finds a way. You wouldn't like nature when it's angry.
So I mean, this seems like a pretty simple mechanic to understand, and like I think it has a lot of when you have it so open, there's a lot of design space for it. So I'm excited to see what happens.
I think it's interesting that it doesn't have to be damage from your opponents either. So if you have a way to ping your own creatures, you can just ping them for profit.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
You could play like a board sweep or something like that, and like your dinosaur still survives and has an enrage. It's not common damage, right? It's just damage.
Not just any damage. Yeah, you used to be like,
perfect.
You can Sweltering Suns.
Yeah,
and then
and your dinosaur's like, I'm just warm now.
Yeah.
And then we have the next mechanic, which is Raid. So Raid's coming back from Khan's block, which is great. I really enjoy that mechanic because I like attacking with creatures, so it fits in with my game style.
Makes sense with pirates too.
So
It does.
can we get like a flying pirate that's a bird, and then when you attack, it comes in and it makes like another bird buddy with it? Can we get wingmate pirate, shipmate rock?
Shipmate
it's just a parrot. Yeah.
Yeah, but only bigger. It's a big parrot.
So I want a human. It's kind of like a pirate. It flies in, it attacks, and raid triggers, and you get 1/1 fairies of flying. I want Peter Pan.
You know what? That'd be pretty cool. I don't think they're gonna go that way, but if they had like a Peter Pan equivalent like pirate card, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they already have like some captains in there. So
There you go. Some of them gotta have some hooks.
some of them gotta be afraid of crocodiles, especially after being an Ixalan, man.
Dinosaurs count as crocodiles, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were around at the same time, at least like ancestrally speaking.
Hey,
I don't know.
Sun-Crowned Hunters, eat this clock.
Might make him mad.
And
full circle.
we also have Treasure. Treasure's not necessarily a named mechanic, but it is a thing that's going to be appearing on multiple different types of cards. And you get it's a token that you can tap it and sacrifice it and make any color of mana. So similar to gold, but you have to tap it. Gold you can just sacrifice. And I think the Ethereum cells that Tezzeret makes, I think they also require a tap.
They also require a tap.
So,
yes. I think it's so like in my mind the difference here is because we're coming out of a set that has
Improvise?
Yeah. So you can't like use them to cast improvise spells and then sacrifice them to cast your next spell.
Right.
That makes sense to me.
So there's going to be a Merfolk tribe, and their main centric thing is +1/+1 counters.
Yeah, that's really odd, right? Because So the merfolk are going to be blue black.
No, they're
right?
blue green.
Yeah,
Blue green.
That's
oh
why.
yeah, okay, yeah. We did get some green ones.
Yeah.
I guess like it makes sense with the green, but yeah, with blue +1 counters is a little weird to me.
It
But-
is, especially also coming right after a block full of -1 counters. Never
yeah.
can be confusing. Not difficult to show on a screen when you're watching.
Yeah. However, the old Simic mechanic used to be counters and moving things around.
Yeah, exactly.
So I
Yes.
guess it kind of we have a little bit of a precedent. There,
Yeah.
So.
Both Simic mechanics required like use of +1/+1 counters because you had what evolve was that the name of the mechanic?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we're gonna have vampires, but their mechanic is just like life, like they manipulate life, pretty good. So nothing named or anything like that. The next name mechanic we get to is explore. So explore is something that a lot of things can do, and it reads as such: when you explore, you reveal the top card of your library. Put that card into your hand if it's a land, and then otherwise put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So if it's on, I assume it'll only be on creatures, right? Because
It seems like it, but I would assume I don't know what else can actually explore.
yeah,
So like flavorfully.
I think it's creatures. Because if a creature you control explores, then blah. So,
I will say this: I could see a vehicle having explore.
okay, yes, okay, you got me there. That makes sense. If it's a non-creature, if it's a non-land, you put a +1/+1 counter on this creature that is exploring, and then you can put that card back on top or in your graveyard, which is pretty important.
I also think the wording here is pretty important. This isn't like a regular keyword ability. Like you don't explore, it explores. It's
Yeah.
interesting to me, like because they fiddled around when they were working on like the wording for indestructible when they changed how that works. The same thing was like unblockable, right?
Oh, it's like if it gains indestructible
Yeah.
or if it has indestructible.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, the idea that here that like it isn't like whatever deals damage or whenever there's a battlefield, explore once. It explores. So it's interesting,
Yeah,
and maybe it'll be able to sometimes explore more than once, like 2 explores.
like yeah, you could explore and then explore again.
I would
Explore
just
and then continue exploring.
Make sure that you actually get to do that twice. And you're not cheating.
I just want one that tells me to never stop exploring and really be positive and uplifting.
So like, what is it like a hang in there cat poster on a
yeah,
card?
exactly.
It's a picture of a mountain. It's literally what's the conspiracy card where if you draft it you can play out your lands can tap for any color of mana and you have to draft it. You have to play every card you draft. It's like wander.
Yeah. Whatever.
It's good. That's a fun one.
But
Is it WorldKnit? Is that the one?
Maybe it's WorldKnit. Yeah. So just take the art from that where the guy's like, look at that. Yeah. And then say like, never stop exploring. And then that's the game freezes.
Yeah.
Because you explore the rest of the game. Yeah.
And we definitely have vehicles coming back. We get ships. I'm kind of excited about this.
I'm not.
Why?
So
Do you not like vehicles?
I don't like vehicles. I do not like them. I think I would have liked them in like before they changed like how they design removal spells. Was I right?
It was WorldKnit,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that art's perfect. Never stop exploring.
Never stop exploring.
No, I mean like I do think like hopefully they've learned a lesson with this, but I don't know what the design turnaround is after you see like vehicles like I don't know, but
So the example that we have is a sleek sailboat. It's
Sleek schooner.
A schooner.
No, it's a sailboat. It's cost 3 for a 4/3 vehicle with crew 1. That's it. And I was just like, isn't this just Renegade Freighter minus the good abilities on it? It almost feels like when they originally came out with equipment and Mirrodin block, like
Yeah,
original
exactly.
Mirrodin, and then it's like, oh yeah, we gotta
talked-
scale this down a
and we
little
talked
bit.
about this because they didn't immediately after the set after that you got JIT.
Yeah.
So it took them a while to figure it out, and I don't want to get again. I've said this before. I do not want the JIT of vehicles in this set.
But I feel like their design philosophies have changed. I feel like
How is that possible?
because we look at this card. This card is an uncommon and is worse than a common they
Okay,
printed
but
last
the
time.
uncommons don't matter. The uncommons don't matter. It's how the format works. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like,
And we also have cards that are a lot better keeping this in check. We have like things like a braid now that exists in the format.
Sure, maybe that's true. I would like to have waited. Like I think it's flavorful. I would have liked to wait a long time for vehicles again. I would like to have actually taken the time to actually assess them because we haven't even seen them in their full life cycle standard.
So is this implying that like they're just going to be in every set? Like,
I don't.
It's just like
I
an
don't think
evergreen
so.
thing?
I think this. I hope not, because I don't think every plane can have vehicles flavorfully. Maybe it is, but I think that it makes sense for this one because of ships. I just don't like it. Maybe I just don't like. Maybe I'm just being curmudgeonly. I just don't like they took Smuggler's Copter away from me, and I want anybody to have any fun ever again. So.
I think that's more of the influence.
But I actively do not like vehicles. So
I think they're fine.
if removal spells were consistently better, then sure. But because they decide to like handcuff people and then make vehicles better than the removal, nah, I'm good.
But I don't know. I just don't know if that holds true anymore. I think a braid did a lot to like counteract that argument.
Yeah, that's why vehicles died.
Do you see vehicles? Do you see martyr vehicles?
I'm in front of me right now. I know, but I could open it up. I suppose. Still has pretty nice metagame share, but
I'm sure, but it's not like the unwinnable deck that it used to be. The format's actually good and can adjust to it.
okay.
I'm just saying.
Still doesn't make Heart of Kieran a card that I don't want to exist in the
I don't know if
format.
that deck really has like if Heart of Kieran's that deck's problem or if Gideon has always been that deck's problem.
It's very possible it's Gideon, but I don't even know what argument we're having. I'm allowed to not like vehicles.
I guess.
I'm allowed to think that they
It just
designed
like
them
it hurts
poorly.
my soul that you're not excited that there's probably going to be like a legendary pirate ship in this, and that
I
just
don't know.
like is very exciting to me for some.
We literally had a
reason.
legendary flying pirate ship.
Yeah, is
last
it going to
time.
be like a skyship sovereign that doesn't fly?
No, it's gonna be a.
Does it have island
gonna
island
be-
home?
It's gonna be a watership sovereign.
Yeah, island home can only attack if they have islands.
I don't
It's been
think
a while
they're going to go
since
back
we've
to
seen that one. Yeah,
Only if they have islands or an Ipnu rivulet.
that's like a 1997 ability.
And then the last thing is kind of a
Nope.
okay
Two things.
second to last thing. Is kind of exciting. Is double face cards, flip cards, not flip cards, double face cards specifically. Don't say flip cards; they're the other thing, right? So we have the example here is Treasure Map, and it's 2 generic for an artifact, and you can pay 1 generic tap, scry 1, put a landmark counter on Treasure Map. Then, if there are 3 or more landmark counters on it, remove these counters, transform Treasure Map, and create 3 treasure tokens. And then on the back of it is Treasure Cove, and Treasure Cove has a very distinct sort of Muppet Treasure Island-esque back to it and frame to it, basically. And this, Sam Stott actually tweeted out saying that, you kind of have to do some interesting things when the back of your double face card is a land to prevent people from just being like, oh, I can just play it like this, and this makes it distinct. So you get a land that produces a colorless mana, and you can actually tap it and sacrifice a treasure and draw a card. So you can turn your treasure into cards or mana. And this is a pretty cool card, design wise. I saw a lot of people being kind of negative about the actual border, though.
Oh no, this is ridiculous. This is great.
A popular Twitter personality, especially for aesthetic, the proxy guy was just not having it. From what I read,
He was wrong.
I mean,
tell you.
Well, I saw this, and maybe it's just the combination of both, like the border and also the artwork. I think is really great on it too. But I just saw this and I was just like, wow, that's awesome. Like that was my initial reaction was just like, wow, that's cool. Whereas like my initial reaction to like the Amonkhet invocations was just like, what the heck is this? Like that doesn't look like a Magic card. This still doesn't kind of look like a Magic card, but at least has like a, I don't know, I guess like a softer feel to it than like a rigidness of the.
No, like this feels unique. It's like also attached to something that looks like a Magic card, so that helps it, I think. But
Yeah.
this looks so pleasing to me. Like whatever card game this is that has this sweet map theme, I'm down to play that too, Wizards. Just so you know.
I think like one of the most jarring things is that the art's in widescreen. You don't have like you remember in Amonkhet Invocations where it was like in 4:3 and you're like, why did I go back to SD? Why am I just watching this on my tube TV? They were like, okay, fine, we'll remove the columns. You got nice widescreen HD art right on there. Got that 4K. Which obviously it breaks the borders and everything like that as well. But not having like the sides on there, I think is definitely visually separates it from itself.
I really just want to own a foil one of these.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'll ever play it. I just want to have one.
No, I showed it to my wife and she was like, "This is really cool.
Like, that's awesome.
I need a foil one."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right." So
And it's interesting because like this means that there's potentially like a lot more surprises than we thought. Because when you looked at the sheet that got leaked, that were all quote unquote all the rares, the double face sheet typically is on a different sheet because they have to print them specially because they have two faces. So we still have plenty of more surprises coming out of Ixalan than we may have potentially thought, which is exciting. And the last thing we have is a rule change that's actually going to be happening involving planeswalkers. And we kind of see it with the planeswalker that got spoiled today, which is Jace, Cunning Castaway. It's one generic blue for a 3 loyalty Jace, but he's a legendary planeswalker. And to kind of go more into that, basically all planeswalkers will now be, once Ixalan comes out, errata to be legendary planeswalker blank. So legendary planeswalker Koth whenever they decide to reprint him, but Koth the Hammer will be a legendary planeswalker Koth when Ixalan hits. And they're getting rid of the planeswalker uniqueness rule, and the planeswalkers are kind of just function under the legendary permanence rule or the legendary rule. The most significant change that comes with this is that you can actually have Jace Cunning Castaway and Jace Memory Adept on the battlefield at the same time.
So Jace Emo Boy and Jace Buffbod Notan and Jace Angry Child McFlipperson.
You can have Comb Over Jace as well.
You can have Come Over Jace. You can have Look at My Thriller Glove Jace. You can have King Jace.
Did you say Anime Jace yet?
Anime Jace is the first one, the Memory Adept.
Gotcha.
So
and
we got Detective Jace.
Yeah, Detective Jace. So there are definitely that's kind of the big thing that people are taking away from this, obviously, and it is a little bit jarring and maybe like not flavorful, but at some point in time you have to sacrifice flavor to have a card game. I mean, there's a lot of things that are kind of discordant with flavor amongst the game, and I think WotC knows when they sometimes have to make those sacrifices to push the game in interesting ways and do different things. And I think we may not see the direct motivation to do this right now, but I think that is still yet to come.
I will say that I think a number of people expected me to be mad about this because I'm a flavor person, but they literally threw this away when they changed the legend rule from before, right? I'm not going to get mad that I can have two Jasons play at the same time if my Dragonlord Ojutai can high five your Dragonlord Ojutai as they pass each other attacking. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
these things are what they are. So, I'm very open to this rule. I'm glad to see if it opens design space for them. I'm pretty much okay with them opening design space wherever they feel like they need it. I know some people have decided that the sky is falling, and this is going to ruin Eternal formats, but I'd really think about how many Planeswalkers we even see play in those formats, how many decks run more than one type of Planeswalker. Just because that rule changes doesn't mean you necessarily want to or should run more Planeswalkers. Now, I get it. Yes, you can finally pick Gideon Tribal the way you've always wanted to. Congratulations, I guess, you did it.
And we're a long ways away from the old days when you would play 3-mana Jace Beleren to kill people's Jace the Mind Sculptors.
Right.
Under the original rule, if your opponent had Jace the Mind Sculptor, you could play your own 3-mana Jace and kill their Mind Sculptor.
Right. So. Under the uniqueness rule.
Yeah, they both died. I don't know how to feel about this yet. I don't think it's I don't think it'll end up being a huge deal and really changing all that much. But it is going to be weird, the first couple times you have the same Planeswalker. For instance, you could have multiple Gideons in play. With the Gideons of the Trials is going to be kind of annoying. Or in Modern, you could have both 3-mana Lilianas in play, which is I think is a realistic scenario. But I don't know. It probably won't end up being that weird after you play with it a couple times.
And to be fair, most of the Planeswalkers you just mentioned, especially in Modern and Legacy, just all died things like Abrupt Decay. So it's not like you're oh well, there goes the neighborhood. You know what I mean? It'll be okay. So
not to mention that there is the potentiality that this might encourage them to be more aggressive with printing removal that can hit planeswalkers as well.
Sure. We have an interesting one in this set. If you,
In the set, yeah.
So,
So I mean, you may be bemoaning this, but it also could just be something that ends up being something you actually want.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is like, give it a couple months and see how many times this actually comes up.
Yeah.
I bet it will still be a novelty for a long time. So, can we talk about this Jace for a little bit?
So we want to read about his actual abilities. So
he's got two blue and colors for 3 loyalty.
yeah, we already went over that.
I'm just reiterating.
I'm just saying.
+1. Whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, or draw a card, then discard a card.
Not a May, sir.
Yeah,
you
sorry,
must.
You must. My apologies. -2, create a 2/2 blue illusion creature token with the illusion ability. So when it becomes a target of a spell, sacrifice it. I guess it doesn't have ability though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just a
that's
spell.
different than
So
the
it's
old
like the
illusion.
Labyrinth Guardian.
You
version.
still have to burn a card on it.
And then -5. I think this is where this card gets spicy.
At least half a card.
-5. Create 2 tokens that are copies of Jace Cunning Castaway, except that they're not legendary. And this is the first time that, like, if you read Jace in the lore, Jace literally just makes like phantom copies of himself to try and trick people. It's like his #1 trick to go to. And this is the first time they're really showing you that. Like, I think it's flavorful, but I think this ability is interesting. It's easy to get to that ultimate.
No, we talked about the FNM double-sided tokens last week. Is that all we're gonna have, or are they gonna have Jace tokens too?
Oh man, if they have one that's like a
sweet.
Jace token on the one side and then the illusion token on the other. I'm interested to see what they do with that, because they're obviously they're tokens, so they should have them. That'll be a weird token, like, because they'll have loyalty. It'll have the planeswalker abilities. They'll be sweet for proxies.
Yeah.
But like, there's a couple things this card does. Like, one, if you're a Doubling Season fan, this card is infinite with Doubling Season.
It most certainly is.
So, because it comes in with 6 loyalty, and then ultimates, it makes 2 more that have 6 loyalty, and then it's Liliana math.
Then you just make like million 2/2.
Yeah, make a million 2/2s. So, but I do think, like, in standard, like, so inherently it's like the card advantage in this one comes from the tokens it can make, but like, as a 3-drop walker, like, if you go any 1-drop or 2-drop followed into this and tick up, you're doing some good work, and your opponent's behind. And then, like, if you're just like, all right, cool, -5, like, get 2 more, then you get 2 instances of that trigger, or you can immediately two guys, and then they have to deal with 2 planeswalkers. Like, it's really nifty to me. So, and I told you guys already, I just want to play it with Skyship Plunder. This is a 2/1 flyer for 2 that if it deals damage, you can put another counter on a permanent. So it's just like, what up, Jace? You and I, we're gonna do it. So I think I really like this card. So I know that I won't, like, I'll want to play this card week 1 is what I'm telling you, and I know that I won't, because it'll be like, I don't know, $700.
Yeah, $50
I don't
at
know.
least.
It's already available.
3 mana Jace. Oh well.
Ugh.
Well, don't mind if I do. But yeah, I'm interested to see like what they do with this. It is interesting to note, like, there are some art cards that already say, like, find target legendary, like, permanent legendary card or something like that.
Sure.
Like Captain Sisay, I think is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Thalia's
Oh, yeah.
Lancers. Also like Jeru, like, literally a card that's like, hey, find a planeswalker is. The card just got worse. It literally just got worse after printing. Like, okay. Poor Jeru. Even with his eyes wide open, he can't do anything. But I'm pretty jazzed with Ixalan. There's a lot of people saying that the power level looks pretty low, but nah. I think there's still a lot left of this set to see, in all honesty. I'm excited to see Vraska. Excited to see what that card looks like. I assume that she's in this set since she's like all over all the packaging and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she's probably one of the other planeswalkers.
So we have all of the rares, or close to all the rares, outside of flip cards and mythics, right?
I mean, I guess I don't know how many rares. I don't know the actual number of rares.
Yeah, fair enough. Huh.
And there were some mythics that were
Obviously
mixed
Jace,
in.
obviously being there, but
Jace, the dinosaur Ender Star.
right, yeah, that card's really the comet that blows up the dinosaurs. That card's sweet. That card is sweet. I don't care. That card's sweet.
I mean,
It is not playable.
it's not playable outside of like Type 4.
Wait, yeah,
Can you even play it in Type 4?
yeah. There's enough lands in Type 4.
You sure?
I'm willing to try.
Yeah. There's lands.
Okay.
There's enough. I'm
All
willing
right.
to try.
Okay. I'll believe you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm excited to see like more of what comes out tomorrow, and I think that everything that we see, is going to be somewhat surprising. Still, we got all the hard part out of the way. We spoiled a bunch of rares that you can go look at and check out right now, and now we can move on. One last thing, Hostage Taker, is a new card that will actually have an errata, a functional errata on it. That it's already been done even before it's released.
Do you want me to read it? I have it pulled up here. So, Hostage Taker is costs 2 blue black for 2/3. And the way that it says, I guess it reads on the card, it says, when Hostage Taker enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast that spell. So the problem with this card is, if it's the only permanent, it just creates an infinite loop, right?
It just draws the game.
Yeah. So the errata has to target another target permanent. Yeah.
Chances they fix that before it's on Moto.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But see, like Moto, they can theoretically do like functional errata.
Oh no, they can. My question still stands.
I understand, but like they can actually change the text of the card, can't they? Theoretically.
Yeah.
So hopefully they just do that.
I mean, they have. That's like any creature has like a modern like a new modern frame, and it has like an updated creature type and everything else. Like
So hopefully they do that. And Moto isn't like busted. I mean, it already like can't figure out
busted.
It already can't figure out some things. It just causes your game to reset anyway. So who knows, man? It could just be acting as intended. But that's pretty much everything for the community. Before we jump into competitive, I do want to give a shout out to our lovely sponsor, Comic Town. You can check out their Facebook page by searching Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook. Plenty of local stuff to kind of check out and see event wise. So definitely visit on Facebook, give them a like, and come to some local events.
I heard they're hosting a big event this weekend.
Yes, but it's
for us.
It's very exclusive to Dave's Cube group. So the Cube Invitational will be this weekend, and it'll be very exciting. So we three here are quite elated, and I'm sorry that we can't share it with more people. It's very unfortunate. You can draft Dave's Cube on Cube Tutor, I believe.
Oh yeah, go check it out. I don't know how you. Maybe
I think it's just,
maybe I'll put a link. Out there.
Yeah, you can just
Twitter,
tweet it out
if you want to check it out. Yeah,
get people excited about it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about competitive. Let's talk about the GP. So they were limited, so not going to be a whole lot to really talk about. In all honesty, with limited. First of all, we had GP Miss, and it was won by Francisco Frito Hugani, and he defeated Draft Master Martin Yuza in the finals to win it, which is, man, talk about end bosses. Like, he is like the end boss. He's like the final form of Sephiroth. He's like Kefka, or what was it in 6? Kefka wasn't necessarily the final boss, was he?
No, well,
was it Golbez? Is that or thinking of 5?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Whatever, one of those.
I'm unfortunately my lexicon knowledge of Final Fantasy.
He's Lavos Court that's on the right.
Yeah, exactly that one. But it turns out Francesco had leveled up enough and done defeated that Draft Master. So congrats to you. I didn't read any coverage really or anything about it, but it's limited, so
apparently nobody really did, because even the GP Indie stream, I think it maxed out at like 5,000 viewers, which is pretty lean for sure for the only large event that was happening, or at least being streamed.
I mean, I watched a little bit of the GP Indie actual indie coverage because it was easier than like trying to go to the coverage area and it not be able to see anything anyway. So. But yeah, GP Indy, like Mike and I were both in attendance. I didn't play the main event because I don't really like sealed all that much, unless I could actually open a whole box of it. And then it turns out that is really fun, but they only give you 6 packs, so not really my forte, not really my cup of tea. But Mike was in the main event, so figured we'd start by letting you talk a little bit about your experience.
It was fine experience, like. I knew what to expect from that GP. Like, I still gave them money, so there's that. I will say they had a lot of confusion over the sleep-in special, and I paid for for them to register my deck, and then had to call a judge 3 different times to fix things about my pool, including a card that
gross.
wasn't even registered. Like, there wasn't a mistake; it just wasn't registered, and it was an Oketra's Adventure, which is one of the best 2-drops in hour. So then the judge had to go through and like count my pool to make sure like I wasn't just trying to add a card, which is like cool. Like, and they weren't being like suspicious of me, but at the same time, it's like,
Well, yeah, they have to do their due diligence.
right.
You know?
But like, why should I have to put up with that when I paid the money? So
Yeah, it's
please, please be thankful you ever got GPs.
Yeah, no joke.
Now, that is to say nothing of the judge staff. Like, the judges who did help and everything, like, the judge staff was wonderful. So, like, I don't want to, that's not what I'm criticizing. Straight to the top. Straight to the top. Anyways, I was given a pretty mediocre pool. Rares that included things like the Swarm Intelligence, the doubles all spells, 7-mana enchantment. I had a Regal Caracal in an unplayable color, but my red was pretty solid, and I had some good removal spells. I double Open Fire, double Abrade, which is like the heart of my deck. Also, 2 Abrades are the most expensive cards I opened the entire weekend. Spoiler alert, I made day 2, so... which is like fine. You're not expecting to open like expensive cards, so I don't really care. However, like I did not open anything that would be like bomb level. Like I played a single rare in my sealed pool, which is a Nimble Obstructionist. So, which is like a fine card.
yeah, that's not
But-
even like a ridiculous card or anything.
No, I mean like it's good. It's certainly good, but it's literally you're not cycling it most of the time. It's as good as like a good uncommon most of the time. But I was able to build a deck that was really low to the ground. The one thing I had that most other decks didn't have were pretty good 2-drops, including a Blood Rage Brawler, and I double Aerial Guide with with the removal I already mentioned and a couple of unsummons. So I was able to piece together a deck that, as Dave you know very well, I really like to play the Blue Red Tempo deck.
Nice.
Yeah, and it really did work out pretty well for me. I went 7-2 on day 1. I lost to Matt Hoey in round 4, and he was playing 5-color good stuff, and I literally it was like Naga Ritualist into Sand Strangler into Legendary Sphinx that Factor Fictions into Hour of Glory with Ambuscade. So it was good. I definitely made I think I played an Abrade at the wrong time. I should have let combat damage resolve in game 1, which may have changed that game, but game 2 never felt close. So I made an interesting decision, I think, with my Nimble Obstructionist that game, but like it was a match that I'd like to go back and play again, but like I think I was soundly defeated. And then I lost to someone who boarded a ton of cards in against me and saw a lot of them in the sideboard games. Like, and I rolled a 4, I think, game 2 against him, so that was awkward. But he played a bunch of sideboard cards, and then afterwards pulled out a card he hadn't cast against me, which was Boyle. Why should I ever have to worry about Boyle?
And you're
yeah,
limited GP.
yeah. Well, I mean, if I was playing like 7th edition sealed, then sure, let's do it.
We plan around that, but
Or what, 8th edition sealed? It's an 8th, right?
Yeah, it's an 8th.
I think it's a 7th too. I have to go back. I think of the art I can picture in my head. Either way, so I finished 7-2. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I finished 7-2. Ended up in a pretty stacked draft pod.
yeah, you were in the draft pod as same draft pod as Seth Manfield,
So Manfield,
as Reed Duke.
Duke, who was passing to me.
Oh,
And so I'm trying to think. I'm going to forget his name. That stinks. Local player who recently top aided a limited GP, and I cannot remember his name. I have to look at the draft pod picture. But anyways, sorry. Good.
Oh, Zile Yao?
Yes, that's it. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. He was in my pod, and we were laughing about that a little bit. And then Matt Tumovich, who was like silver level pro, and I mentioned him specifically because I had a bad day, and so did he. So I drafted a solid green white deck with 0 rares. So that's where it was. Beat Matt in the first round. Lost to Double Hour of Promise Ramp, and then lost to Reduke, who never attacked me. And you might be saying, how is that possible? He had many, many Curse of Scarabs, and many Torments of Venom, and he just tormented me to death.
Yeah, it seems like.
So I literally boarded in. So I'm sorry, I did have one rare in my pool that I was playable. I had a Gideon's Intervention on my sideboard, and I boarded that in against him because like he showed me so many Tormented Venoms. I was like, I need to get this down here. Didn't work, but it was there. So I boarded that in against him, and in game 2 he cycled Forsake the Worldly, and I was just like, you know what, whatever. Like
covered on all bases, man.
He's like, no. So go to draft 2 after 1-2 in that pod. End up passing to Matt Tumovich. Get paired against Matt Tumovich. Beat Matt Tumovich.
Oh, man.
And those are my 2 wins on day 2. So this deck was a little better. It was a green-blue ramp, which is an archetype I also like, with a white splash. And I did have some rares in this one. I had Pride Sovereign, which is a bomb. That's a legitimate bomb. And Prepare to Fight, which is good. But like both the decks I played, like my green-white aggro deck also was splashing red for like an Open Fire and Electrify. So like good cards, but like I was close on playables, but not quite. So I'd love to be able to go back and look and see if like there's picks I messed up on. Like I definitely took like an Open Fire, first pick, and like ended up essentially having no red open. So I think I read my table correctly. I had the cards I needed, but it would have been nice to have enough playables to not want to splash.
Yeah.
In either instance. So
I mean, with that format, it feels like you either want to like go all the way or be 2 color.
yeah.
Like it feels like you want to be like all the colors or just 2.
Yeah.
And usually all the colors decks are obviously like base green. But
Right, yeah. So I
always lean aggressive in drafts in that format.
so my first deck was very aggressive. It just like missed out a little bit. I won game 1 against my second round opponent, but like just got beat really hard by his card quality in the next 2 games. And it was just one of those things. And like Reed's deck, like it was a little bit off the wall, but his turn 2 play against me both games was Godpharaoh's Faithful, which is a 0/4, and that's what he was doing, was just turtling up. And like I didn't have anything real fancy, so just like Harrier Nagas, which are good, are just not going to attack into that card. But I also don't think you can expect to play like Godpharaoh's Faithful is not a card that's commonly played. You know what I mean? Like there is the wall, the 0/4 wall normally is. So I could have easily been that card, but it's just like it's okay. I think I misplayed my last round that I played, and was a little frustrated, but I enjoyed it. I'm glad I went. I love the format, and I'm glad I got to play in the format before it rotates. So
yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the other aspects of the event. It was won by Andrew Cuneo.
You mean Jace's defeat?
Jace's defeat himself.
AKA Gainsay?
Yes. Formerly known as Gainsay.
the Magic player formerly known as Gainsay.
Correct. He was in a top 8 with some notable names as Kyle Bogamies, Steve Rubin, and Ellie Cassis. That's kind of the tournament. Apparently, he drafted a sweet blue-white deck, as Davis posted in our show notes.
He has lots of embalm synergies.
Oh, nice. Just kind of got to do that.
Got to do the thing.
Got to do the dang thing. But that's awesome. So shout out to and congrats to Andrew Cuneo for taking down the tournament. He was always in the feature match area. Like we were walking back and forth. He's just always in there. So it wasn't a shock for me to see that he actually just won. So
he did have my favorite tweet from the weekend of Indy, where he said he had his what was it? It was the ribbons for 9 or something like that got countered by a counterbalance, where his opponent revealed like a rags to riches or something, like whatever it was. Like,
yeah, okay,
like
realistic.
I think he was undefeated on day 1, but I think he lost that game. Which like I think you just got to shake your opponent's hand at that point. Like, okay, you did it. Like invocation counterbalance counters my thing by flipping like a split card.
Oh man,
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious. That's. Again, oh, by the way, I will tell you, Tumovich, in our second match, game 2, or game 3, he cast Boil against me.
They're out to get you, man.
I only have one island play. If New Rivulet, you're the MVP. And I'm a Manolith because I was splashing.
They didn't print a Boil for deserts?
No, I just want you to understand. I had to play against Boil twice.
That's actually unreal.
Like, what in the world?
I guess just be happy it wasn't like one of like the super crazy.
Oh yeah, no, like they had a
cards,
good
like,
invocation. Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's still pretty good if it can get you. Like, just getting one land, it's like, glorified Storm Rain. Not that great, but
If you're getting 2 or 3 as an instant, that's gotta feel
Yeah.
fine. But I just like literally just like when he cast it, like because when he cast it against me, I just started laughing. I was like, yeah, okay, you got Boyle, you did it. Like,
I never drafted Tempest Limited, but I would imagine, with like all the hate cards that were like
Flash,
chill, like chill,
fires, chill,
like oh I gotta get my chill out before you get your Boyle. Like,
Perish.
Yeah, Perish. It was like that limited format must have been so dumb.
Oh man, so, but yeah, but it was a fun event, and it was it was cool to see. And they had there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm glad I went. Like my wife asked me afterwards, she's like, was it worth it? And I'm like, frustrated I didn't cash. Like that's always the goal is to do well enough to like obviously I want to do better than that, but like to sort of fall off the end of day 2 was frustrating. But I'm glad I went. I hadn't gone and done that in a little while, so.
You just described like my every day 2 I've ever had, like feeling good and then fall apart day 2.
I've
every time
cashed all my day 2 GPs, so this is the first
I've
one I
cashed
haven't.
one.
So felt pretty frustrating. But I will tell you this, so I haven't played very much, like actual competitive Magic. Like we played the Invitational, and I really haven't played competitive Magic since then. Like I haven't been to like a tournament besides like F&M. And I saw my wife like after like round 1, my opponent got a little tilted at like because I played 2 Abrades against him that game, and he was just like, oh, and like I found myself getting a little bit jittery as I was about to win, which is like not something I normally do. Like I'm really good at just like not doing that, and I was like I'd like walk away from it. And I was like, whoa, no. Like it was like I felt like I didn't have it locked down for a little bit, and I had to work to do that. So don't take breaks, I guess.
Gonna get that sauce back in you.
That killer instinct, man. So it's all right.
Interesting. I mean, you guys talk about your GP day 2s, and I'm like, they have 2. They're 2 days.
Wait, you get to come back.
Sundays are for full box sealed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what Sundays are for.
That's the Lord's Day.
Yeah. But since we just had 2 limited GPs over the weekend, I mean that's pretty much all we have for competitive.
I just have one more question. Did the PTQ cap out? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I don't think so, but
Okay, I know
There were a lot of people that
there were a lot of people
went,
there, but
that
like
did it.
there were a decent amount of Columbus players that were traveling just for the PTQ, and there was some worry about it being capped out. I honestly, I don't know what the numbers have been on those. I haven't really paid attention.
So unless I'm crazy, like I remember them making announcements for like registering still, as I was getting ready to play, like to go into the first draft, and they started like right after. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Assuming that meant that you still had spaces. Now it may have been close because it wasn't like a small event for sure, but I will say I was prepared for that. I had Team Energy packed in my bag and ready to go just in case. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So before we jump into the question of the week, do you want to give a shout out to our other lovely sponsor, BCW Supplies? You can definitely check them out on their website, bcwsupplies.com, or check them out on Facebook. Give them a like. Just search for BCW Supplies, and they pop right up. And that's a great way to keep in touch with all the sweet products that they are coming out with. So give them a follow and a like, and definitely have to continue speaking highly of their sleeves. They're actually amazing. Used them all weekend. Never regretted it. It's fantastic.
I felt like I was doing my duty because like we got BCW supplies for the GP. Like we got a deck box but like they're traditional sleeves. And one of my later round opponents was like, these sleeves were nice, but like I wish they're a little bit like this. And I was like, oh, have you looked into the elite deck cards? Because they're real nice. And so I felt like I was just like, hold on, let me turn on the pitch.
But they're like you don't even have to pitch them. You just like look at these sleeves.
Great. Yeah, like
they're just good.
Yeah, I used the sleeves all weekend, and it was great.
Use them for my modern deck when I played modern on Saturday, and yeah, they're great to shuffle. I'm fantastic. Can't speak highly of them. Can't speak enough.
Nope, you said that wrong.
Can't speak
highly enough.
Highly enough. Yeah, I said enough afterwards.
Yeah, it was a bit paused.
It was a bit delayed.
Cannot speak highly of them.
Enough. All right. Question of the week. As some of you may or may not know, we here at Not Your Instep are varying levels of baseball fans. I'm sort of a newbie baseball fan, and I'm here with 2 veterans of baseball fandom. But they kind of had an interesting weekend this past weekend. It was the Players Weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
So they got special jerseys that had like their nicknames on the back of them, and this caused AJ Soccer to kind of tweet out an interesting thing. If Magic did something like this, what would be your nickname on the back of it, and what would be your walk-up music for if you were going to go to your feature match, which is what you could equivalent like going up to bat, I guess, for the lack of a better
like
equivocation.
if you're not a baseball person, like think of it like you could do like wrestling. If you're like a Cedric Phillips fan, it's like a Phillips fan. They get their own music and they come in. Like, what's the thing that's going to get you pumped up? That is also like normally it's a personality thing. Like it gives you that something about you, which is nice. Like one of the things that baseball and I think Magic struggles with this too, but baseball compared to other sports. And Dave, I know you can attest to this as well, but like baseball has an image problem. Like in football, like you give really outspoken personalities. In basketball, you have one player who is like you have like the LeBron Jameses. In baseball, though, it's a lot more low key, and you don't the personalities don't come out very often.
And also, like just the unwritten rules of baseball, kind of prevent those. It's like I guess personalities from coming out.
It's like Tim Duncan wrote the unwritten rules of baseball.
Yeah. Like somebody like Bryce Harper, I guess, like is somebody who's like an exciting young player, but a lot of people don't like him because he's kind of like, I don't know, like braggadocious.
Who's the best player in baseball right now?
Probably Mike Trout.
Yeah, Mike Trout. And that guy, he's in commercials now, but beyond that, I guarantee you could not have picked that guy out of a lineup. Like he would just nose to the grindstone kind of guy. So this is a chance for them. They got to wear cool shoes too. If you're looking at that too, like special shoes.
Oh, nice.
And like
it was basically the anti-NFL. Like.
Right. So like I wanted to do this because like Magic players have that image problem too a little bit. Like a lot of us look very much the same as the other, and sometimes it's hard to show personality, especially when the people playing the game don't get to talk very much. And then when you talk about the unwritten rules, you could go back to the Brad Nelson thing a few weeks ago, right? Like you show personality and you could get burned for it. So I think this would be, obviously this is a what if land, but like I thought it was really cool. So Morgan and I sort of got to cheat at this.
Yeah.
We were driving back from Indy and...
I mean, to be fair, we posted it in the show chat.
Yeah,
right?
but like...
Dave had a chance.
Dave wrote the show notes like 10 minutes before we started the cast.
I didn't know this was going to be the question of the week, but it's fine. I have an answer. So,
all right, well, do you want to go first then?
Yeah, sure. I'll go
all right, go for it.
All right, so for the name on the back, I'd have to go with Pro Points, just because that's what everybody calls me.
Yeah,
apparently.
Dave Pro Points Nolan.
So yeah, just be Pro Points. And I think the joke song that I would pick would be like, I don't know, like a lot of like the Latino players in baseball have like the drum beat and like trumpet or whatever. Nah, I wouldn't go with that. I'd probably go with I'm gonna go with the Game of Thrones theme song. That's what I'll go with. I've been listening to the soundtrack at work, like just as like when I need to get in the zone. I'm not answering phone calls. It's like, all right, Game of Thrones soundtrack, let's go.
So tell me about your walk up then, like because Game of Thrones is like a specific like beat. So like like some people like just walk up like very like do you like is there some like this is like a slow walk like I need you to
like I would have like the bat. Like, well, I guess if we're talking about
the
like
deck.
Not baseball, but like I'd have the deck like you gotta like unsheath the sword, so you gotta like sing, like take it out, just lay it down.
All right, that's awesome.
No, I don't know.
That's awesome.
I'm too tired.
I'm pretty sure you just walk out and you have a guy like slapping two coconut halves together, right? like you're on a horse.
Yeah,
to accompany your Game of Thrones,
something like that. Yeah, just gallop up to the table. Yeah,
that's awesome. Morgan,
oh, you want to go last? I see.
I mean, I can go next if you want me to. You decide.
I mean, my quote unquote nickname was given to me by Ryan, the proprietor of Comic Town. It is Death Hammer for a random top 8 that I got at his store, and he just put that as my nickname in the middle, and I was like, "That sure." So it'd be Morgan Death Hammer McCarl, and songs. I much like Dave, I have a joke one. There's a internet rapper formerly known as Krispy Kreme, now is Froggy Fresh. He has a song called "Baddest of Them All," and if you haven't listened to that, do so. It is a treat. But that is definitely like the joke answer as far as that is concerned. I mean, I think like Vampire Killer from Castlevania, like that's just a good track. That's a good track to walk out to. I don't know, but you can't do like the 8-bit version. You got to be like someone with guitars and stuff. So probably something like that. But man, that song gets you amped.
Yeah, nice.
So I think that's what I would go with.
Nice. So again, with your walk up, then if you're going Castlevania music, are you wearing like? Tell me you're wearing like a cloak with like a high collar.
Yeah, sure, of course.
You just spread your arms.
You just also have a whip for no reason.
Yeah.
That's really good. So you're just trying to like Bill Murray whip your deck box open. You're just like missing really badly. So it's funny is I was so excited about this because like this is actually one of my favorite like things to do. Like my brother and I used to do this all the time, and we've done like family softball games where we've actually let people do like walk up music. So like walk up music is something we've thought about a lot. So I've got a couple of options that I think would be good. The one that's just like a legitimate song is "Smooth Sailing" by Queens of the Stone Age. It just has a very distinct like riff to it that has a little bit like it feels like a little bit of swagger to it. So you just like walk up and just like it's like a wear sunglasses while you walk up song, and then just like throw away the sunglasses at the end, like that kind of.
You can throw it to a fan.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah. But the other one, so the other one is the Spring Yard Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog. Which is my current ringtone because of this, and like it just another just like very high energy.
Can you give us a sample on that?
Do
you want me to call you?
Hold on, I can give you a sample. You ready? So that one is like this.
All right.
So yeah, I think that one works out pretty well. Now I will say I actually have a legitimate answer to this that I thought about for a long time. But I already got to use it. Because forever, the walk-up song I wanted to use, and we're going to use one of the softball games, was Crash Man by Project X. And that is actually the intro to the show.
Yeah.
I fought really hard for that one. Got their permission, and I really love that song. So I sort of get to live this dream.
Yeah, you sort of get to do it every week.
I didn't say nickname, but this should be pretty obvious.
It's
Big Tears. Like there's that's become me, I guess.
Yeah,
so
that's who you are. That is your moniker.
But I feel really happy about that because like I sort of like I got to do the one I wanted, so it makes me feel pretty happy.
Yeah,
but I think this is fun. I know that Magic couldn't do like they couldn't do it and be serious because it would come off like a parody. I think, but like this is something like for Magic 25 they could do that I think would be kind of cool. Like give us some team intro videos, like it's like just like really like shoddy like CGI pyrotechnics.
Yeah, we need like smoke machines. Yeah,
people wearing feathered boas and saying "woo" a lot. Like
the whole shebang.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
It could be. It feels like they should like just try everything weird.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, even like esports has like little video intros pretty much. So like about their players before like matches start and stuff like that, where they do like video interviews. And like Magic it does do that, but not necessarily focused on like. Yeah, it's not necessarily their focus, I should say.
I will say, let's give them a chance because the player, like the team championship hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see them maybe doing some cool video production for that. So let's see, maybe they'll do it and take that cue. But I think, like, I agree with you. They should try some of these funky things because, like, even if it's, like, funny, like, sometimes you just need that stuff to catch fire. You need that crossover where, like, Kotaku's doing an article about, like, your weird thing you did at your Pro Tour because, like, it was notable. Like you need that crossover, and I think that helps with that.
I think like it might feel weird or funny at first, but it's like one of those things that's like, oh, you know what? Actually, it's kind of cool. Like we should keep doing this.
Right? Like yeah.
Like I think what they do, like the World Magic Cup. I mean, they have like the photos of the teams. And I think like those are pretty cool. I actually like looking at
Star City's closer than I think we're giving them credit for because they do they set up the two players and then they do like the street
fight,
the Street Fighter like with their own song and stuff. So like. We're closer than we're gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing. This needs to happen now.
Well, yeah, I will say Star City does a lot better job of like actually
everything.
Well, actually showcasing the player rather than like just the deck they're playing.
Sure.
And that's obviously been just a focus of how they want to present their their products. So.
Yeah. All right. That was a good question of the week. And you listeners, we do encourage you, if you have any answers for this that you want to share with us, reach out to us on Twitter or shoot us an email. We'll definitely want to, like, if we get any answers, we'll take a look at them and maybe talk about them on the show next week. But that's everything for the show. We, of course, have our wrap up here. So we do have a couple of GPs this weekend. So we have GP Washington, D.C. and GP Turin, which are both standard. So definitely check those out if you want to see the swan song, as it were, the sunset of the standard season.
Yeah, standard was a lot of fun to watch the last time around. I mean, obviously we saw Brad Nelson and company take it down, dominate the tournament. We'll see if maybe there's another deck that is well positioned now to take down this weekend. So
and this standard, this last bit of standard before rotation kind of end. We kind of had some trials and tribulations with it, and they really found a way to kind of footnote the end of sort of Battle for Zendikar and Shadows over Innistrad, with a little bit of hope and a little bit of positivity for a standard that for the longest times had been pretty mired in just it being bad and having a lot of bannings, and they recovered well, I think. So I have high hopes that when we get Ixalan, that we still have some interesting stuff that we can do. And by losing cards, by losing 2 blocks, we kind of maybe expand the standard palette even more than it is right now, which is pretty tempting and pretty exciting. So we'll see what happens. And the other big event, as we stated before, is of course the Dave Nolan Peasant Cube Invitational. By invite only, of course, hence it is an invitational, and it'll be hopefully 16 people battling it out to see who wins and gets to be a card designer and make a custom card for the cube.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
The only 2-time champ, still looking to become the only 3-time champ. So
looking to extend that lead.
You gotta extend that lead. I already have 2 green jackets. Like, it's gonna be tough to wear the third one, but I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with just getting a top 8.
Yeah, Cube Invitational is my baby. This will be the 8th one. It's the 8th year, and we only do it once a year. So pretty much everybody tries to convince me to do more than one a year, but I like to keep it just one to make it. It does feel special when it comes around. It's just like,
I'm super
Cube
excited.
Invitational's coming up.
Super
it's only
excited.
once a year. And every year I try to change it up a little bit. We've tried different, types of draft formats. This year we're going to keep it pretty straightforward. It's going to be 2 drafts. And then top 8 is going to be Rochester draft, which is pretty exciting. Hopefully I'll be in that one. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll try to get some photos put out there, and I don't know if that's interesting to anybody, but
I'm sure it's interesting to someone out there, and hopefully they follow us.
Can we do intro music for all the players in the Invitational?
if you want to make that happen, I'm all for it. I don't care.
I actually don't know how you do it. You're going to play them all at the same time every round?
Just all the intro music's playing at exactly the same time. Just be like one big thing.
Maybe I'll ask, and then if you top 8, then when you do top 8 announcement, you just announce the name and they get to play their little snippet of song.
That might be a little over the top, but
it's the Cube Invitational.
Yeah. If you win, you get to play your song.
Fair enough.
That's
a
prize in itself.
I can't wait to play O Canada.
All right. Well, if you you obviously found the show somehow, so if you found it via iTunes, please feel free to give us a nice little review here, and then that really helps our visibility. And then, of course, if you found us on MTG Cast, feel free to download some of the other lovely shows they have on there. And if you feel like reaching out to us, you can find us on Twitter. We are YourEndStep, and then when you add us, it's at YourEndStep. And then we also have a Facebook, so you can do a quick search for At Your Endstep, and we pop right up. And then, or email atyourendstep@gmail.com is a great way to reach out to us. We have a Patreon as well, www.patreon.com/atyourendstep. So if you feel like, giving us some money to help keep the show on the web. We certainly would appreciate it, and we try to give you, special access to the show notes, which we've started doing every week, so you kind of see what we look at when we record the show, and then of course special access to extra giveaway entries and things like that. So if that is something that you would like to be interested in or like to do for us, you can do so via that web address I gave you. And of course, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors, Comic Town and BCW Supplies. You can check them out at their respective Facebook pages for more information about their lovely services and products. That's going to be everything for us this week. You have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.